You are the strangest thing most animals have ever encountered. Think about what you look like from the outside. You move on two legs, which is already unusual. Most land animals use four. You have forward-facing eyes, the arrangement that almost exclusively belongs to predators. You approach other creatures directly, the way hunters do. But then you also bring food, make strange sounds, touch things you're not going to eat, and sometimes just stand completely still for stretches of time for reasons no animal can determine. By any reasonable animal assessment, you are deeply confusing. And yet virtually every animal that spends significant time near humans develops some working model of what we are. Not what we think we are, with our names, jobs, complicated inner lives, and everything else animals have no access to. But what we do, what we smell like, what our movements predict, what happens after we appear. The question most people ask is, do animals understand humans? That's not quite the right question. The more useful one is, what kind of creature do they think we are? Start with dogs. Because dogs are the clearest example of an animal that has spent so long around humans, it developed an entirely specialized framework for reading us. Dogs can track your emotional state from your facial expression alone. They follow a point, something even our closest primate relatives struggle to do consistently. Which means they understand that when you extend your arm towards something, you're trying to direct their attention to something outside themselves. They recognize your voice in a crowd. They notice changes in your routine before you've given any obvious signal. A dog does not think you are another dog. It knows you look different, smell different, move differently. But it doesn't place you outside its social world because of those differences. It absorbs you into that world. To a dog, you are a pack member. A strange one. Bipedal, nearly scentless by dog standards, with an inexplicable habit of leaving and returning on a daily cycle rather than staying near the group. But the most important pack member. The one who controls access to food, decides when movement happens, sets the emotional tone of the whole environment. When you return home after a day away, a dog's reaction is not performed. That is a genuine reunion. Your departure every morning is, from a dog's perspective, not guaranteed to be followed by a return. That is why the return matters so much every time. Cats have developed a completely different model. A cat probably does not think you are a cat. It knows you are larger, louder, and considerably less graceful. But it often treats you in ways that closely resemble how it treats another cat it's decided to associate with on its own terms. Cats rub their faces against you, a behavior cats use to mark things they're claiming as part of their space. They slow blink, which is the closest thing in cat body language to a relaxed, non-threatening acknowledgement. Some bring you things. Some follow you from room to room without obvious purpose. Adult cats almost never meow at each other. Meowing is a vocalization kittens use to communicate with their mothers, and adult wild cats abandon it entirely. Domestic cats kept it, and use it specifically at humans, not at other cats. At us. That means cats have developed a separate communication register used exclusively for interacting with humans. They are not applying cat-to-cat behavior to us. They are doing something specific to us that they don't do with their own species. Some researchers describe this as cats treating humans as large, slow, occasionally useful social partners. Others put it more directly. The cat has identified which sounds and behaviors reliably produce responses from you, and it deploys them. Whether that means the cat understands what you are or simply knows what you do is a distinction that may not matter to the cat at all. Horses see something different again. Horses are prey animals. Their survival has always depended on reading body language accurately and quickly, because the cost of misreading it is death. They have become extraordinarily sensitive to posture, tension, breathing patterns, the direction of weight, the quality of movement. They don't particularly care what you're saying. They care what your body is doing while you say it. What makes humans genuinely confusing to horses is that we present a contradictory signal profile. Forward-facing eyes, predator. Direct approach, predator. But bringing food, grooming, not attacking, moving without urgency, not predator. Horses are not built to encounter things that look like hunters and behave like companions. What they can learn, with specific humans over time, is that this particular strange creature is safe, or isn't. They don't generalize easily across individuals. Each human gets assessed on their own conduct, their own history, their own movement. A horse that trusts you has made a specific decision about you based on your specific behavior. That decision is not automatic, and it is not permanent. Crows and ravens operate with a level of individual human recognition that most people find unsettling when they first encounter it. In controlled research, crows exposed to specific humans during stressful interactions remembered those individuals months later. They responded to those same people with alarm calls and targeted aggression. They communicated the threat to other crows. Birds that had never encountered those individuals became cautious around them. A crow does not experience humans as a species. It experiences individuals with track records. If you have been safe near a crow, that crow may have registered you as safe. If you have been threatening, it will likely remember. The timeline isn't days. Documented recognition has persisted across years. To a crow, you are a specific person with a specific history. That is a level of individual categorization that most people don't expect from a bird. Parrots take this further. Some develop what researchers describe as genuine social bonds with individual humans, learning to read moods, track routines, respond to emotional cues. A parrot in a household is not experiencing you as background noise. You are one of the central social facts of its life. Wild animals work with a simpler framework, and it's more honest about what they actually need from the interaction. A deer does not wonder about your personality. It doesn't care about your intentions or your history. It processes your shape, your movement pattern, your distance, and your smell. Then it makes a fast decision: threat or not threat. For most wild animals, humans fall into two working categories: threat or background noise. In places where human presence is predictable and non-threatening, many wild animals shift toward the second category. We become part of the environment, something to navigate around rather than flee from. Urban animals have taken this further. Pigeons, foxes, squirrels, and raccoons living in cities have developed detailed working models of human patterns. Not because they understand us, but because they've learned what we do. A city squirrel has learned that humans on benches sometimes produce food, that humans moving quickly are unpredictable, that certain areas of human activity are productive at certain times. It has built a behavioral map of human activity that serves its survival without requiring any actual comprehension of what humans are. Raccoons have learned that specific containers produce food when opened, that specific sounds predict human movement, that specific times of night are reliably low risk. From a raccoon's perspective, what humans have built is an extremely complicated system for producing accessible food for persistent enough animals. Dolphins approach humans with something closer to genuine curiosity. In open water encounters, they have circled divers, swum alongside boats, and initiated contact in ways that don't fit easy explanations. They appear interested in us as objects of active investigation. We are strange to them. We move poorly in water, need equipment to stay submerged, produce unusual sounds, and lack the hydrodynamic competence that makes sense in their environment. Whales present a different scale problem entirely. A human beside a large whale is roughly proportional to a small bird beside a building. They seem to process us primarily through size, fragility, and movement. In some documented interactions near rescue situations, whales have lingered near the humans involved in ways without clean explanations. Whether this constitutes recognition of any kind remains genuinely unknown. Octopuses may experience us in the strangest way of all. More than half of their neurons are in their arms rather than their central brain. They perceive the world through a system we have no equivalent for. Some recognize individual human keepers at research facilities and treat them differently from strangers. They don't know what we are, but they've identified us as worth distinguishing between. Here is the thing that runs through all of it. Animals don't appear to ask, "What is a human?" They appear to ask something more practically useful. What does this specific creature reliably do? Dogs learn that certain sounds predict your departure. Cats learn that certain containers predict food. Crows learn which faces predict threat. City squirrels learn which humans are worth approaching. Animals are not constructing a philosophy of human nature. They are building a predictive model. What followed last time this creature appeared? What is it safe to do around it? What can be expected from it? That may be the most accurate description of how most animals experience us, not as people, as patterns. Consistent or inconsistent, safe or unsafe, useful or irrelevant, which raises a question worth sitting with. Every moment you spend near an animal, it is collecting information. Every sound, every movement, every routine, every choice is communicating something about what kind of creature you are. Not in your own estimation, not in the story you tell about yourself, in the only terms that actually register, not with words, with behavior. And in every ecosystem, in every relationship between species, that has always been the only language that actually mattered.